So born and raised Miami, Florida, specifically a city called Hialeah. Raised by a single mom. My life of crime started at a really early age.
Okay.
Dad left the house at 8. I was on the streets at 9. Already trying to figure shit out. Yeah, I had my first pistol at 11, which I have tatted on me, a fucking Desert Eagle. Mind you, I couldn't even carry that shit at that time. Yeah, so I learned and
Why? Why were you out at 8?
That's exactly the question. Is why? At 8 years old, you never know. But I mean, I guess the neighborhood I was in, it wasn't a bad neighborhood, but we were exposed to a lot of, crime. And I started selling drugs at 9. Right. So yeah, if you're familiar with Hialeah, yeah, that's what happens.
I'm not apparently.
She is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So it's a very heavy Latin oriented neighborhood. Started selling drugs at 9, started doing that at 11, started fucking, toting guns and hanging out with the gangsters at 13.
I mean, was your dad there or?
No, my dad left the house at 8. So I was 8.
Your
a
mom
year later.
she can't control you.
Right.
Okay.
My mom is Brazilian, so she came here with her sister very early age. She was, she took the right path. So she didn't have much life experience, which is why she couldn't handle the heat that came with raising a son on her own. And I just fucking took off, man. 15, heavy in the streets, already catching gun charges, all sorts of shit. So my life of crime started at about the age of 9. Ended at 25 when I finally caught my fair case. But in between there, I got arrested 61 times.
Is this
all
just
sorts of shit, man.
Just drugs or drugs got like
drug dealing, aggravated assault on Leos, fucking all sorts of shit. A bunch of fights. So I was the leader of a gang, fucking organized crime. So imagine the shit that I was into at that time.
Is this a specific gang? You don't want to mention the name of the gang, or
yeah,
or
no,
just,
I mean,
it was a gang.
Yeah, it was a gang.
Okay,
it's a very notorious Latin crime organization in Miami, who ran Hialeah, which I'm sure she knows who Hialeah is. She knows exactly what I'm talking about. And yeah, man, it was fucking crazy. It was a lot of drug dealing, extortion, fucking. I mean, everything you can name it. Anything that you see in the movies, I was part of.
So how does that work? I mean, what are some of these like arrests?
So first time I was arrested was at the age of 13. I was at a Quinces party. I'm not sure what that is. Again, it's a Latin thing where they celebrate the whole 15s of when women have their 15s party.
Right.
And I actually got arrested for stealing fucking Vaseline. Not Vaseline, Visine to put in my eyes because my eyes were fucking red. We're all high and we're,
right. You got arrested for having it?
I got arrested for stealing it.
Oh, okay.
At the little locals at the beach, went across the street at the mart, and my dad literally bawled me out. I used to get my dad for the bullshit. Like my dad was present, he just wasn't. He didn't know how to fucking.
It wasn't like a father.
He didn't know how to handle me as well. Like anything that he would do to be in good faith or have, like somewhat control over, he would do it. So he took me out of juvenile and brought me right back to the same fucking party that I got arrested at. So that just made me feel like unstoppable, I'm like, okay, damn, is that fucking easy? I'm gonna beat the system just doing this. So that was the first time I got arrested.
What is your dad doing?
No, my dad's a great human being. He's just not a great father per se.
There was no, I mean, at least in between the picking you up and bringing you back
right
to the party, was there a lecture of what are you doing with your
Not
life?
Really. Not really, yeah. And I have a
horrible.
younger brother, and we speak about this shit all the time. He's a man of many morals and ethos, but he's just fucking, bro, like sucks at being that figure to me. So I ended up finding that in the street, which is why I became part of this organization. Started as a foot soldier, ran the streets for a really long time, got arrested fucking so much. Between just the ages of 13 and 18, I probably did my longest stretch of how many times I got arrested, jack, juvie, all that. And I got arrested for fighting. I got arrested for drug dealing. I got arrested for fighting some more.
When you say foot soldier, what does that mean?
That's like at the bottom of the hierarchy when it comes to, crime.
But is it
organized crimes? Like you start as someone who just puts in work.
Right. So I interviewed a mob guy yesterday, and obviously they have like a super structure.
Right.
But he was explaining that you run a scam or you sell some dope or whatever and you kick up money. Mm-hmm. Is it like that or it's not like that?
It's not really like that. We didn't really take from people. It was more of building your credibility to be in the bigger rooms.
Okay.
talk about the more serious shit. So at that time, I'm just out there wilding out. I'm collecting my stripes per se
Where are you living?
in Hialeah.
No, I'm saying with your mom. Or
Well,
is
I
she
was
like
with
your
my
dog?
mom and the first mother of my son at the time, which is how I got introduced to this Latin crime organization, and I was exposed to it all. Again, at a very early age, I was really deep into this shit. I saw it all, was very curious. And it's crazy because how you mentioned earlier, there wasn't a time that I ever said I wanted to be a drug dealer. But I was always impressed by like the gangsters, the guys that had, the power, the money. Not necessarily the money for the luxuries of it, but the money for the power of it. And I just wanted to, be a gangster. I remember my teacher asking me this at a very early age. And there was like, second, third, fourth, fifth, I didn't have an answer. And I think by like fifth or sixth grade, I answered and I'm like, I want to be a gangster. Other kids are saying, I want to be a firefighter. I want to be this. I want to be that. And I answered her and she chuckled a little bit, but she looked at me with a face like, damn, he's fucking serious.
Right.
And you can see pictures that I post from me at 13 years old. I had my hair braided and I just had like a blank stare already. My older son is 13 years old. He still has that purity to him, So to look back and I'm like, fuck, I was so lost at that age. But I was already so street smart. I had seen a lot of shit. I had been into a lot of shit. But yeah, man, getting arrested for fucking fighting. And I remember the first time I got into a fight with a kid in my neighborhood and I almost got into a fight with him again and almost got arrested the second time. And I turned on the police officer that came to, I guess, like mitigate the situation. Got arrested for that. So I was a fucking hothead, man. I was into a lot of shit.
So are they sentencing you to?
Well, at that age, no.
Juvie, or are they just saying you're on probation?
21 days, you get a little slap in the wrist, you'll go get Jack, they'll send you to juvie, you'll go to what they used to call it, shorty, can't figure out what the fuck they called it. It was rough,
Right.
You get like really pressured into a lot of shit in there, and then you come out and you have more stripes. So all these things that I was doing was adding to my repertoire of, notoriety and reputation. So I was just addicted to that, man. There was something that I was so addicted to and I didn't find out till later on in life, and it was power. I kind of took the same energy that I'm doing now, just in more of obviously a constructive and positive light, which is now helping people do the opposite.
Right.
But I was just fucking addicted to power, man.
So what kind of, like, are you making good money, or are you making money, or are you just making enough to survive?
I was making decent money. We're doing a lot of shit. Obviously I'm going to speak about the shit I got caught doing, cultivating. We had, my federal charge was importing and exporting Molly. I'm not sure if you remember the Molly era. Molly, guns. That's what my case was. So I used to grow.
Okay.
Also, I used to have a lot of,
like a grow house. You have a grow house,
right,
or multiple grow houses, or
one.
Okay.
Like I got caught with
200 plants in it or something like that.
So that never came out. I can't speak about that, but I did get a cultivating charge.
Right.
And that was something that I did for a long time. And then ended up, doing the importing and exporting thing, which is where I got charged for.
Because I was saying, I met a guy. I think I interviewed a guy who had like 6 or 8. I don't know how many exactly houses he had, but he was talking about stealing the power from the power,
right,
getting the power from the power lines.
Technician, like an AC guy, they will come and they would rig it was like one little wire that they would have to rig. And all they would do is put a thicker wire, and that thicker wire would just run the same current, but it wouldn't be charged as much. Because when there's a lot of electricity running to it, that sends a red flag to the narcs. And the narcs will know, okay, this house is
this house has got way too many
right,
ampage or wattage or whatever. Like they're not.
I got fucking stories behind that, man. I've had my houses broken into. I've had my houses get put on foreclosures. We rent them out from random people, obviously people that weren't on top of it. I remember having to call a Comcast guy to come open up the electricity box. It was like a townhouse sort of setup. And because my main breaker had went out. So the Comcast guy had access to that. But we were like, so we knew how to con everything, man. Like we knew how to get around everything. So we called the Comcast guy, ordered fucking cable, and the guy came. We held him up at gunpoint, gave him $100, told him, you never saw nothing, leave this shit open. And I remember me and one of my guys going in there at like fucking 2:00 in the morning, trying to change this breaker, and the whole fucking box blew up on us. like one blew up and then just all started to blow up. I remember like I was blinded and deaf, and I remember touching my guy. I'm like, hey, you alive? And I could hear him. I'm like, holy shit, there's a dead body next to me. And after like 2 minutes, obviously, you know, it was just a couple burns or whatnot. But fuck, man, yeah, that was. I got stories for days as far as the whole cultivating thing, just learning that. But I mean, it was everything, man. I was into everything. You
But
know?
eventually, so you get grabbed. You go
Right,
to-
yeah.
was
We
the
ended up getting
longest-
snitched on, and they came and got fingerprints off of one of the lights, the lamps of the house that we had, but they didn't get none of the plants. Right, so we ended up moving shop, and literally like 2 days later, they came and raided the house and found fingerprints. It was just someone, you know, working with them. So they ended up coming to my house, and they ended up trying to catch me on my birthday. I'll never forget this. 2014, my son, my second son, the mother of my son was pregnant, and they came, and I missed them by like 2 minutes. So I left for the weekend, rented at Fontainebleau, came back after cleaning out the whole house, and they came and ran up on me, ARs, all type of shit, laid me down, and they found a bag of the what do you call it? The fucking when you cut the plants down, but it was like the leaves. We used to make oil out this shit.
Yeah. Yeah. The,
Right,
the
like-
shake or whatever.
Right,
they
right,
call it, something.
exactly.
Is that right? No, you don't know.
It was the shake. That's what it would basically turn into. And I remember they threw it on top of the table, and it was in a big bag, closed, so that, you know, we got you. They found a clip of a gun. And at the time, I wasn't convicted of any gun charges. I had gotten caught with shit, but I never got convicted. So I remember them. I was like on a long black table, which I still have, super long. I remember sitting at the end, and the narcs coming in from, you know, my room and from the kitchen, and they're just throwing shit on top of the table, throwing shit on top of the table. These are a couple things I forgot. I had so much shit in the house. Mind you, I just cleared that out 2 days before that, but they found like a fucking clip of a gun in the shoe, and they start loading up the table with a bunch of shit, and they're like, we got you. You know, like, do you have anybody to give up?
How old are you?
22 at the time.
Okay.
And I remember sitting at the corner of the table looking at these guys, and I knew exactly what was in the bag. Obviously, I'm studying law. I know exactly what I can get caught with, how bad it can be. Went to the fucking gun clip on the table and the bag of debris. I'm looking at him. I'm like, you stupid motherfucker. I'm like, you think you got me? I remember leaning back on the table, and I looked at one of them, and it was like this fat guy with a big beard. I'm like, your wife right now is fucking a guy that looks just like me. While you're out here trying to I just felt so invisible. I'm like, fuck you guys, take me out here. I spit on him. Man, and this was still states. This was narcs. This was local, you know. I hadn't gotten into the Fed radar yet. And I remember that day, I'm like, I'm unstoppable. Like, these guys are not gonna fucking get me. I knew the game so well. I knew how to commit crime so fucking well that I was not gonna stop. And then that's when obviously the feds came into play.
Well, so the clip doesn't mean anything.
If you don't have any prior gun charges, they can find ammo in your house. Obviously, if it's not a fully loaded gun, you know. So they tried to hit me with a bunch of shit. They stole like $40,000. I had a pit bull in the back, and under his cage, I had a plywood that I would screw a box where my money was in. They ended up calling animal control, took my dogs out of the cage, raided my backyard, and took my fucking money. So mind you, at that time, my mentality is like, I'm gonna get my revenge. These are just local narcs. You know, I'm like, I'm gonna fucking take these guys out. Me and my guys are plotting we're about to go to war with fucking local narcs. And right around that time, I got probation for that charge. The feds started to, you know, we started to hear peaks of them, you know, trying to find out what we were doing.
Is this like DEA or FBI?
DA,
Okay.
DA. I think no, ICE wasn't in there, but it was DA, and just normal feds. And they started to pull over some of the guys in my circle. I remember when all this started to come about, what we were doing with the Mali, you know, the China shit, DR, which was obviously all on my case. I'm not saying nothing else, and double jeopardy is a thing. So, I remember getting fucking paranoid. I'm like, damn. Now the feds aren't in our, like, we're in the feds radar. These are the big boys. I mean, I can't fucking trick these guys. Local narcs and uniform cops. I was running fucking circles around them. And I remember they came. I'm on a 16-man indictment, and they raided all of our houses simultaneously. So mind you, 15 feds per house, 16 of us.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 200 fucking federal agents that morning coming to get us. So I get the call from the mother of my son, and she tells me, like, they're here looking for you. Like, get the fuck out. You know, and I happen to be at one of my other spots. I remember waking up ass booty naked and just taking the bags that I had there and just running out of my house. And as soon as I leave and I turn the corner, all I see is just nonstop fucking cars coming into my block. I literally missed them. So the narcs, I dodged. The feds, I dodged. If I would have gotten caught by either one of them with what they would have caught me with, I wouldn't be here having this interview with you.
So they're on you because you guys are importing Molly.
Right.
Where's the Molly coming from? Or is it the
China?
So is it the precursor material and you guys are putting it together here, or is it just coming in straight Molly?
No, it's coming in straight Mali.
Okay.
We're cutting it up and distributing it. We caught the first wave of that. So we're like the main guys down here. Right.
Yeah. I was gonna say there was a guy in Coleman that I had met that he was they'd gone to Afghanistan, him and his whole like crew, and they came back and somebody hired them to be like private protection, where this guy went to Mexico. They didn't even go to Mexico. They just went somewhere close and met guys with Molly, and then somehow or another they ripped them off. And then these guys started bringing in Molly.
It's a pretty
and
fucking serious drug when
it
you
was
hit.
a huge case.
Yeah.
I met him. I actually wanted to write a story about his case because it was so interesting that all of these guys, I say all of them, maybe 4 out of 6 were former military. And they ran this whole thing. And then of course they're driving fucking Ferrari. Like they're just doing ridiculous stuff, you know. What most people do if you've never really had any money, you get a bunch of money, you go get a Ferrari, it brings even more attention, you know. You don't really realize it. But that was that and he was in RDAP. We were talking about RDAP earlier. But he was in RDAP. I wanted to write his story so he wouldn't do it. His wife wouldn't let him do it. He got married, he got arrested, went to prison, got out, was trying to start his life over. He wouldn't do it. But they were making tons of money.
There's a lot of money when the MDMA wave hit. Yeah, right. There's a lot of money, but it was a dangerous drug. That's around the time where that guy fucking ate the guy's face in Miami Beach.
Oh yeah.
Right, they were like cutting it with fucking Epsom salt and doing some other crazy shit. So yeah, it was a serious drug, and the feds took that shit very serious. So I was the only one of the 16 that got away, and at the time, again, I'm not really studying the feds. I'm not knowing where they're based out of. I remember getting on I-75, which is right. You can catch I-75 right off of Hialeah, and getting off on Miramar Parkway, which is in Broward. And off that exit, that's where they're fucking based out of. The headquarters was there, and I'm right down the street from these motherfuckers. And I'm hiding out, and I'm getting calls, and I had 3 burner phones, and every time I would leave the place I was stationed at, I will see a helicopter hovering over me. I'm like, bro, this can't be me, man. Like, I'm not fucking El Chapo. This is impossible, right? So then I go back to the house, and then I leave again, and these motherfuckers are on top of me again. I'm like, holy shit. Again, it was 200 federal agents from all prior of my co-defendants now looking for me. And at the time, they didn't even know who I was. They had just found out 3 years of surveillance. I had just found out 30 days prior who I was from just a phone that they confiscated. They didn't know I was, the head honcho of all this. And I remember the 3rd time, I'm like, okay, now, again, I'm going to have to start thinking fucking feds. I knew how to maneuver the state. I fucking, paid the judges and the DAs in the state, but these guys are not to be fucked with. So the 3rd time, last phone, when I came out to make that call, I set up a diversion. I let them know. I'm like, look, I need to go to the mother of my kids' house. I need to see my kids before I go in, but I am going to turn myself in tomorrow. They were at my kids' house that same day, but obviously I didn't go there. I went back to my hood in Hialeah. I made sure everything was set for me to go in, and the next day I turned myself in. But fuck the feds, man.
Did you figure out how they got onto you to begin with? Like, did somebody underneath you get busted? He cooperated. They put together, because it usually doesn't. It doesn't just start.
Right.
It starts. There's a catalyst. Somebody got arrested. And said,
it was an informant. It was a junkie that one of the guys under me was selling to, and the guy had a gold chain with a fucking camera on it.
Right.
And that's how you start to collect all the evidence.
So he works with them. He makes some buys. He busts the guy underneath you. That guy cooperates. That
No,
guy,
the guy that was in my organization didn't cooperate.
okay, but they still
This
get
guy
his-
was just working outside of my operation.
But they still get the phone numbers. They get wiretaps. They listen to the wire. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a way that they're building.
They
this.
didn't get wiretaps because we all worked off of something at the time called black phones. So they were able to, which I didn't know at the time, they were able to track your location. They weren't able to wire your call. I mean, tap your call.
Right.
So they didn't hear what we were talking about. They just knew that we were, where we were at. So the third call that got made was off of a normal line, which they tapped. And I sent them, that was the diversion I set up. But yeah, the life of crime is fucking interesting, man. And I take that same, it's so conceptual how you can apply this to business, how you can apply this to like your house. I got 2 sons and a bonus son now. And it's like the same hierarchy. It's fucking crazy, Like the way that I built my gang is the way that I'm building my house. There's my older son who my younger ones report to, and he's the one that has to lead, which in the life of crime was my right-hand man.
Right.
This is a guy I speak to. This is a guy I hold accountable for anything that goes on under him. It's fucking crazy, man.
Well, so when you get grabbed, what does your lawyer say? Do you have the ability to get a private lawyer or
We hired a team lawyer.
a team lawyer? What?
Like from my gang, we all had the same lawyer.
Oh, okay.
he
So
was
you already had a lawyer?
Yeah.
Okay.
61 times, I had to,
All right. So
I had to hire an on-call lawyer.
well, I mean, guys that have been arrested in the state, they go to grab their same lawyer, and that lawyer's like, yeah, I don't do federal.
Right. So
Okay.
he didn't do me so well in the feds.
Right.
He knew the state game really good, and the feds came around, and I almost had to I had to end up taking my own case.
Well, what people don't realize is that there are rules. You're saying this like people don't realize that what you can get away with in the state doesn't work in the feds.
I know.
And there are things that the state lawyers or state judges will say, no, that's not coming in because you obtained that by using this guy. He's not reliable. And they'll throw stuff out. And in the federal system or hearsay, well, yeah, but you got that information because you talked to this guy. You never spoke with this person. This guy wasn't involved. And they start throwing stuff out. They trim it down to where you, as a defendant in the state, you have a fighting chance. In the Fed, they can use hearsay. They can use
Conspiracy.
Yeah, they can use everything. They can connect everything.
Everything was conspiracy for me.
And it doesn't end up being a fair playing ground. It ends up being overly geared toward the federal system. So you're thinking, you might be thinking, okay, I'm going to go to trial because I only know one guy that I ever talked to. I'll use these phones they don't have. And then you say, I'm going to go to trial, and you go to trial. And then if you've been through the state system multiple times, you're thinking they got nothing on me. And next thing you know, your lawyer's saying, okay, we got 15 people that are going to testify.
Exactly what happened.
And you're saying, no, but I never spoke with any of these people. Yeah, I know they didn't speak with you, but they spoke with this person who sold you the drugs, and you're saying, no, but that doesn't, you can't use them. And you can't use them. And the lawyer's saying, no, bro, like this isn't the state.
Exactly what happened. Yeah.
All these people will testify, and all of them will say that they've seen you before or they've dealt with you before, they sold to you before, and but you can't prove that. We don't have to prove it. So that's why I'm saying, like, you getting caught by the feds, like the new lawyer, the state lawyer doesn't know those things. And even if he knows it, he doesn't know the intricacies of how to get around it or properly prepare you for what's coming, because God knows how many times somebody's gone in thinking they're getting 2 years and they get a 15-year sentence because their lawyer's telling them something that absolutely does not apply in the federal system. That's why most lawyers, defense attorneys, when someone like you comes to them and they're this is my go-to guy, he's amazing, they go, I'm not taking your case. Because defense attorneys in the state can be superstars. Most guys that come here and talk to me that have been arrested in the state, they'll sit here and say, man, my lawyer was amazing. My lawyer was the best. My lawyer. I don't think I've ever had a guy come here where his federal lawyer, typically the guys who had federal, they're like, bro, this guy was horrible. I paid him $75,000. He didn't know what he was doing. And so why whenever I talk about my public defender, it's like, I'm like, she do a great job? I don't think so, but I don't think she had a choice. Like I didn't give her.
Yeah. The
She
feds is a
had no
different ballgame.
choice. You know, there was nothing she could have done. Of course, I'm still angry. You know, I should have deserved a better sentence, and so I have to blame somebody. So your lawyer still kept your case. What is he telling you?
I mean, he was honest with me from the beginning. He's like, this is a different playing field, you know?
Right.
But I'm like, I just don't want nobody else to, you know, represent my case besides you. That was a whole fucking, man, that was a ride. So I ended up, again, turning myself in, got out the next day because I wasn't a flight risk. I was able to fight my case on the street.
Well,
At this time,
better. You have a better chance if you can
Right.
get out. That's why they don't want to let you out.
but they didn't even know who I was yet.
Okay.
So as I am out on the street fighting my case, they're still monitoring me. They're
Right.
still wanting to collect more shit because
you
now they
realize
find
that?
out. Yeah, I figured this. I was a paranoid motherfucker. I will step out of any restaurant and I will look on the tree, look in every car, right? And I remember them. Hey, when I knew the game I was playing with the feds, I was like, yeah, I can't compete with these guys. It's over. And all my guys were on the inside, so I'm out here operating this on my own. They let me out, and again, like I mentioned, for the cultivating charge, I was on probation while I was outside fighting this federal case. Feds and the state, they don't communicate. So now I'm trying to beat my state probation for early termination on the probation, because if not, they will run concurrent. You know, violation of probation. After you finish your Fed charge, I'm going to bunky ass state. You know, and when you're doing Fed time in federal prison, to go from that to fucking state prison, it's a super big downgrade. You know, it's like, holy shit.
They don't even have air conditioning.
So I didn't want to do that. I'm like, I'm not going to go to this fucking prison with a bunch of, you know, corner store chain snatchers and shit. And I fought my case. I beat it. My federal judge, Gales, everyone knows who this fucking guy is. Black gay dude. He's a motherfucker.
A black gay
Black
federal
gay
judge
dude, yeah.
or state?
Federal.
Okay.
Gales was his name. He was like the fucking most cutthroat judge in Miami District. This guy, when I walked in, so I ended up having to fight my case on the street. He ended up taking me in because I guess the feds were in his ear. Look, we need to get this guy inside. This guy's he's a flight risk. He's gonna run wherever. And one day I went to a court hearing. They brought me in, and my next court hearing, the judge, I remember telling me, so here I have that you got your state probation early terminated, huh? He's like, you're a smooth criminal. You think you're gonna moonwalk up out here? And look at my lawyer. I'm like, this motherfucker allowed to talk to me like that? Right. The guy's like going off on me at this point. And my lawyer is still trying to play the finesse game. He's like, bro, this guy's gay, had long hair at the time. He's like, I need you to wear your hair loose, you know, wear a pink tie. I'm like, bro, you fucking serious? Right. Like, are you fucking serious? He's like, bro, trust me, this guy's gay, bro, you know? I'm like, holy shit, I'm not gonna do this, James. Like, we gotta have another angle here, you know? And again, this was his way of finessing the state. You know, it's either we pay him or we finesse him. None of them worked in the feds. He's like, bro, I can't find no loopholes here. Like, nobody wants to work with me. Nobody wants to talk to me about nothing. I didn't get the vibe that there was any. So now we're just fighting our case head on. And I remember going into my last hearing, and I get there and I look back and none of my family is there. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then there's like 30 people behind the DA. So I'm looking and I'm like, who the fuck are those people? Like, am I in the wrong courtroom? Is that the other people's family? And I remember looking back and there's this really pretty lady that I remember seeing her at the Fed building the day I turned myself in. And I remember them telling her how she had just, you know, had this big bust or whatever. I'm like, holy shit, this is how the feds look? Like, the feds are it's a different game. You know, the state and the narcs are these big fucking dumbasses. You know, they're just big and stupid. Well, the feds are like, they look like you almost, right? They're smart, they're intelligent, and they use more brains more than they use, you know? I remember this really beautiful woman from that day, and I look back and I'm like, holy shit, those are all feds. So at this point, they know I'm the leader of my organization, and I hear them all whispering in the DA's ear. They manipulated my family to go to a whole nother courtroom. I had 30 minutes to fight my case, and my lawyer had nothing.
What do you mean to fight your case? This isn't your trial.
This was the last hearing. This was like, either you're going to get, they were offering me 12 and a half for conspiracy of 4.5 kilos of MDMA.
Okay.
Conspiracy. They had 2 text messages and 1 call that none of them were incriminating, but one of them I was thinking, I took the call walking outside of the state courthouse. So in their eyes, they're like, this motherfucker just walked out of court and is already trying to run a play here. Well, it ended up being that the mother of my son had just beat up my side chick, and I was at the courthouse fighting her case. So I was like, trying to, tell the judge, I'm like, Judge, I was desperate at the time. I was trying to figure something out to get money to get, the mother of my son out.
Normally, I use a burner phone, Your Honor.
Right. He kind of took it as that, right? I'm like, look, normally I was, I just had a son. I was trying to get out of it, but I was a desperate measures. The only reason the judge took my side is because the DA tried to use it and say, no, he was walking out of his own case hearing.
Right.
And I'm like, Judge, look at the date. It wasn't there. So because of that, the judge gave me an extra half an hour. I had to go back up, gave me an extra half an hour to come back with some more evidence. Literally like 2 minutes in, that's all I had. And my lawyer had to go to the fucking state courthouse to go find another case while these guys, 30 plus the 2 DA officers, are all gathering more information on me. I'm like, holy shit, I'm fucked. And I remember coming back and my lawyer had nothing. And these guys found a phone call that I had with my right-hand man. And he was, he, not me. He had a phone call while I was still outside. Because remember, I didn't get caught. He called outside saying, why are they looking for Eddie? Eddie had nothing to do with this operation. Mind you, I couldn't fly a kite to him in fucking 3 hours. So this was him willingly wanting to say this. This wasn't him manipulating that. So the judge heard that. And I'm like, Your Honor, I was, I just had a son. I was really trying to get out of it. He said, but you're the leader of a fucking gang. Yeah, well, when you get raised under my circumstances, that's fucking what comes with the life. It wasn't just some shit where I would say, all right, guys, I'm going to turn the switch off. And the DA tried to come up with some more shit. And now the judge is starting to see that the DA is lying on my case to fuck me. They wanted to hit me with the RICO. They wanted to take us all down. But none of the people inside of my organization were snitching. None of them were cooperating. So they couldn't label anybody or, really say, okay, this is this guy, this is this guy. So the judge is telling the DA, like, I don't have enough evidence to give this guy 12 and a half years. I want to come down to 7.5. And the DA is like, no, Judge, we're going to stand by this because this is and this is what we have. I remember the judge looking at the DA with a face like, I run this shit. Who the fuck do you think you're talking to? Obviously, he didn't say this. But I'm looking at all this transpire. I'm like, holy shit, these guys are fighting right in front of me.
Right.
So the DA says that to him, and the judge is like, I'm going to bring it down to 5. Like basically telling him, shut the fuck up. I'm running shit here. And the DA is like, okay, we'll settle with 7.5. And they're like, no, you're too late. Now we're going to do 60 months. 57 to be exact. So right under 5 years. And I remember my judge trying to fight me to get less time. He's like, well, Your Honor, because this, I said, shut the fuck up. Like, I stood up. I'm like, Judge, where do I sign? Give me the 5. At this point, we're going to go with the 5. Mind you, this is the most innocent I've ever been in any of my cases. But I was willing to take the 5 coming out from 12.5. I'm like, bro, let me just take the 5. This is karmic justice, or injustice catching up to me. I'll do my 5, see what I learned from this experience. So I remember firing my judge right there and then. I'm like, are you fucking stupid? You're going to argue with these people when they're fighting amongst themselves? You want to get into this fire? Like, don't argue with them. This guy doesn't want to argue with anybody. Just listen to him, agree, nod your head. The long hair and the fucking pink shirt didn't work. Like, now we just have to, stroke this guy's ego at this point, right? And the judge liked that I stood up and took accountability. He's like, all right, 5 it is, 57 months. Like,
and this is just for drugs. There's no gun involved.
There was, but not directly correlated with me.
Okay, so there was no enhancement for a drug.
Just conspiracy.
Okay.
I got charged for 4.5 kilos of MDMA conspiracy. Not me in my possession. Not me. It wasn't coming to me. Just phone calls that were, 4.5 were being distributed amongst, people that I was talking to. Fucking 12.5 years they're trying to get me. But again, it was because they knew who I was. Man, I took those 5 and I'm like, fuck that. I'm going to run with it. So I remember getting back to my 8 West Wing in the Fed. And I remember telling my cellie, I'm like, well, I got 5 years. Like, and I was super happy. And I was like, what are you so fucking happy about? I'm like, boy, these guys are trying to hit me with 12.5.
Right.
Like, I'm going to fucking do these 5 years running. So prison was the fucking best thing that ever happened to me, man. This guys I didn't know at the time. I still remember when I was in the federal holding facility, I was on gang time. Like we were bringing in all sorts of shit, cell phones. It was very political. When I got to Coleman, holy shit, everything fucking changed.
That's where was your first stop?
That
Was
was-
Coleman the low?
The medium,
Oh, you went to the medium.
but it's still, it was not what I thought it was.
No,
I mean,
it's not a state medium. It's not
if
that.
I'm being honest, well, yeah, obviously because states are a little more, there's more violence involved, but it's more serious in the feds.
Okay.
Right? Like there's more violence, I guess, because there's little stupid fusses about shit. But I come from, like we will look for blood every day. If we didn't find blood outside of ourselves, we would turn on each other. I will catch me fighting my guys above one of my, dead soldiers' cemetery. Like we'll go visit him and start drinking Hennessy. We'll just start fighting. Like this was my nature. This was my, where I come from. So going into the medium and seeing how those guys were like trying to run the cars and you guys ain't shit, bro. Like, so I wasn't there for long. I was only there for 8 months because I hadn't gotten convicted of anything. So they took me right down to the low. And the low is when it all changed for me. The low is when I'm like, holy shit, this is fucking bad. Child molesters walking around this motherfucker with no repercussions. And I just said, I'm just not gonna do this. That's when I met you. I'm finding myself in the library a lot more. I'm not on the yard talking about who and what I used to be and what I used to have. I'm like, fuck these bums, I'm just gonna get in these classes. I'm gonna surround myself around people. There was a little, I don't know if you remember him. He looked like Einstein. Guy had long hair, of like a scientist or some shit. And then who I also hung out with a lot was Lance Polson.
Oh
Remember
yeah,
Lance
Lance. Yeah.
I hung out with him a lot. People thought I was extorting him because I was always walking up and down the yard, but I was an intelligent dude. And that's why I caught myself. And I remember going to some of your classes, and in your classes, you were basically giving us the loopholes of what routes not to take. It was a real estate class, right?
Yeah.
What loopholes not to take in real estate.
All 100% legit.
Right. But he will tell us what not to take. He will warn us. He will tell us what was illegal and what routes not to take. So I'm like, okay, it's fucking interesting. It's not some shit you learned in college, right? So I actually have notes of those classes still. I remember Matt Cox. Your the name was on the notes. That's all I was doing, man. And that's when it really changed for me. So Coleman Low was the worst place I've ever been. Not just the Chomos, but the RDAP. But it was the best fucking thing that ever happened to me.
Right.
The best. And that's the only thing that could have domesticated my fucking wild nature of where I come from and what I used to do.
And you went in the how long before you got into RDAP?
So again, I only have 5 years.
Yeah.
I was
But you've already done. You already spent time in Marshall's holdover.
Right.
You've already did not 8 or 9 months in the medium. You're down below 3 years by the time you get there.
literally
you're
as soon as
below.
I got there.
Okay, they got to put you in pretty much right away.
And I got put in with the fucking Chomos, not with the Chomos, with the fucking
Transgender.
trannies, bro. It was crazy. It was fucking wild. That was some wild shit, I remember getting there, and I had came from the Miami building with one of them. And when I first introduced myself, when I got there, I'm like, look, I was in Miami with this motherfucker right here. I said just that exact thing. I remember Dr. Smith, like, she smirked a little bit, and she kind of pulled me to the side after. She's like, well, we don't talk like that here. I know it's your first, week here. Like I was in the Miami holdover with this motherfucker, and he wasn't, because they started. It was 2 of them now. It was the one with the big tits and the bald one, the one that had a little afro. So they had a whole meeting about these motherfuckers. They pulled them up and they're like, look, guys, we have to, she, whatever the fuck, address them by miss. And I'm like, the fuck you? I'm not gonna fucking address this person. I'm just not taking it. And they had a whole meeting around how we're gonna respect them and how we're gonna treat them with whatever. And I remember standing up, I'm like, no, hold on. Let's not play the fucking victim here. I was in Miami with this one right here, and he was giving out charity dick like it was, church twice on Sundays. Like, we're not going to do that. I understand there's some desperate motherfuckers here, and the doctor's like, holy shit. And I remember 90% of the room looking at me. Like, I just exposed them. I'm like, you motherfuckers are all fucking this thing. I remember looking at all of them, just locking eyes. I'm like, okay, I know who you are. Like, I'm going to keep an eye out for you because they all came from me. Every other day, I was getting pulled up twice.
Yeah.
I was a guy that would stand up. I'm like, yeah, all right, I accept it. Whatever, And then fast forward, I learned some shit through the program. I started to adapt. I still had my little gritty, attitude, and they liked it. I just kind of, took it with a grain of salt, and I was not as, I guess, aggressive. man, I got to the last fucking phase, and we're all sitting in this whatever community. I forgot what it was.
That's when
the
they
whole
come
phase.
for you. That's when they come for you.
And this motherfucker is talking about doing this talent show, and he wants all of us to like sing in the background. I'm like, the fuck, I'm not. Like, you got me fucked up. And I remember nobody said anything, so they held us all back, and they brought me back 2, and they brought everybody back 1.
So why did they bring? I mean, how did that?
Because no one held me accountable.
Right, I understand, but I'm saying, how did that happen? Like, did somebody had to tell Dr. Smith?
Of course.
And so what Dr. Smith calls everybody in
Right.
one
It was
at a time?
fucking day, man. And at the end of that day, my celly decided to play a prank on me and put a fucking a Nutella on a drawer on some underwear, and they put it on my chair. You know, you have your own chair, you have your own locker, your own chair. Well, someone tried to play a prank on my celly and put it on my chair. I got to my cell that day. I remember walking up to the front.
What is Nutella? You mean the
Nutella,
brown
the chocolate
the
shit,
brown
so, man,
chocolate, and
right.
what they smeared it on there, so it looks like
on a drawer on some
now I
pair of
understand.
drawers, and they're
I didn't know if they sat the container on there. I don't know.
No. So they make it seem like
putting
you know,
a Snickers on somebody's pillow, fucking
Right.
with them, just joking around.
right. So they decided to do that
Hopefully.
like on the wrong day. And at that time, I'm like, fuck this program, bro. Like, I'm just gonna crash out. I'm gonna take 3 chomos with me, and I'm gonna go back up to me. I finish my time there. I was on the verge of doing this shit, right? And I remember walking up to the front, and I'm like, look, hey, I stood up on the chair on the computer. Let me tell you guys, I'm like, today's not the fucking day. Whoever let that shit in my room, let me find out who the fuck it is. I'm taking you out right now. Like, you go. And then my celly came up to me. He's like, bro, what's my partner? And I grabbed my celly. I'm like, you stupid mother. Like, do you not see what happened today? I threw him up against. I was about to just risk it all. The next day, everyone had their hand up. Like, I'm gonna get this guy. The doctor, Dr. Smith,
Right.
called on the dumbest motherfucker. I remember his name was Mr. McDonald. Like, this super fucking hillbilly guy had fucked up teeth. I remember him getting up. He's like, yeah, today I want to call out Mr. Eddie Soto. And the guy called me out and gave me the worst fucking call out, the worst behavioral shit. And because of that, I got saved. You know what, Mr. McDonald? You're right. I accept responsibility. You know, at the end of the day, this is prison. You know, there's certain boundaries you can't cross. So all the doctors have my back. They're like, yes, guys, at the end of the day, you guys can't be playing pranks on each other. This is a behavioral pattern that you have to learn here so you don't play the prank because that prank can get you whatever. And I got saved, man. I got saved. And I think the doctor's motive behind that was to keep me around after the program. You know, those motherfuckers that graduate and they're like these little
Comps or complete,
right,
completes or comps. Yeah.
And I remember her coming up to me on the last day. She's like, you know, hey, look, so you're gonna stay. I'm already walking with the dolly. I'm like,
Right.
doctor, I'm out. Like, I'm gone. I'm getting. This is a fucking a mental fucking asylum you guys have that you're running here. Like, this shit is crazy. You got people pulling people up for chicken and like some weird shit. I can't do it. You know, 13 months, I did it. I appreciate it, but I'm out. That was a fucking experience, man. Holy shit, that was a fucking experience, man. With chomos, obviously, you know, there's chomos. I remember getting up one night to take a piss in the middle of the night, and I saw what was labeled as the sickest fucking child molester there, right? It was this little weird looking motherfucker. You know, they all had that look in their eyes, right? Like, you know, but he had it like times 3.
And this was in RDAP?
In RDAP.
Okay.
Yeah, you had child molesters there.
Oh, no, I'm trying to think of, because the worst one was but I not in RDAP. I'm saying on the compound was, they called him Porpoise or something. He had like a big misshapen
I
head.
don't know. You have kids?
I mean, yeah, he's like 26 years
Okay.
old. So, but yeah,
It was very
I
personal to me. So I mean, I like, if there was a way out, it was gonna be through that. So I remember walking to the bathroom on one of those days where I was just like sick of this shit and seeing the motherfucker in there, and it was just me and him. And it crossed my mind. I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna take this guy out. You know, I'm gonna get this itch off. You know, and I'm gonna risk it all. And I'm gonna, you know. But the truth is that every time someone did that, what happened? Next day, it went right the fuck
Oh,
back
of course,
to normal.
you're not. No, you're not doing anything. You're
Right?
done.
Like-
And you're losing your year. And
Right.
You're either getting rephased, you're losing your year, getting rephased, getting kicked out of possibly getting kicked out of the program,
And
probably
catching
going to
extra
the
time.
shoe. Yeah, probably going to the shoe, possibly going to the medium, and now you've got the extra year to do.
No, and you get a whole charge.
Well, oh no,
because
you
they
can
were
get
protected.
You can get an extra charge,
Right.
Yeah, no, it's there's.
I
no
remember there was a
benefit.
guy that took out like 6 of them. Like fucking shanks to the face, buck 50s and all, through tea and one other. And the compound went right back to normal the next day. Like, there was so many of them.
it was about 50.
I think it was like 60% at one point.
Well, I had heard that it was like 50%. However, they weren't all there for those offenses.
It was child pornography. It was fucking
Right. But no, what I'm saying is, let's say you had 50% of the compound had charges. They may not be there for the charges. Maybe 40% are there, but maybe 10 or 20% are there. They had charges in their past. They may be here on selling drugs,
right.
but they can't go anywhere else because this guy went to the what do you call it? Statutory rape or rape or some kind of charge or a child whatever.
Right.
But he's here because he committed fraud or sold some drugs or something. So yeah, it's like at least 50%.
And they all hung out in the Sea House. That's where they
all congregate. You notice they would see each other. They'd see each other and they would walk in and say, "Hey, I'm here for selling drugs or fraud or something." And even if they kept to that the whole time, within a month, you'd see that guy who says, "I'm here for selling marijuana,"
with the local
hanging out with fucking 30 other Joes, like
playing the weird little card games and shit. You will see them in front of the house.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons.
It was another one, but it was Dungeons and Dragons, same thing. But yeah, but they naturally congregated together. They could feel, they could, a fisherman knows a fisherman.
Right. I took advantage of that time to study them. Right. I'm like, okay, if I'm going to go out into the street, I'm going to call this guy out from a distance, whether it's at my son's school, whether it's in the neighborhood. And they all had the same behaviorals and the face gestures. And you just know. You just know. I'll be out with my kids. I'm like, that's a fucking sicko. He's a fucking chomo. And there'll be times I'll say some shit like that out loud. And they will look at me and they're like, I told you this motherfucker was sick. So I used that time wisely to at least say, okay, let me study these guys. Let me see how they move and the little fidgety of the fingers and how they're. I studied these fuckers, and I use that time to the best of my ability, man, to come out here and fucking.
We were like categorizing him. Like we would say, first of all, we do this, right? Like he's a diddler. And then we had like 3 or 4 different categories where you'd say he was undercover, or this guy was Arrested Development, like he liked young kids, or I mean because they all couldn't
even get that deep into a conversation.
Oh yeah, that
would piss me the fuck off.
We just look over and I'd be like, like that, and they'd be like, no, I go, yeah, undercover, bro, undercover, like yeah, him, yeah. And, they'd be like, I thought he was here for a while. I mean, that's what he's telling everybody. But somebody pulled up his paperwork, and that's just the way, But
there's nothing you can do. Experience, man.
Or,
holy shit.
They wouldn't let him go, like in B4, they wouldn't let them go into the TV room. There was a group of guys that would keep them from the TV room. And every once in a while, one would wander in. And there was this guy, Kenny King. And he would turn around and he'd go, Greg? Now you ain't allowed to be in here. He goes, and he would do it, and I would be like, oh God, like it would make me so uncomfortable. Like, and the guy'd be like, I'm just trying to watch CNN, Kenny. He'd go, I don't give a fuck, Greg. You know damn well. Don't turn this into us having to hurt you. I'm leaving, and he'd wander out.
Fuck, bro, that was crazy, man.
But I mean, what are you going to do? You do something, you're getting more time, you're getting in more trouble. You're going to.
I get it, but Coleman that was crazy,
very
man.
Sweet. If you weren't into any shit, it was a nice.
It was a well put together compound. You had, I had my kitchen connect, and I had my little workout routine. But fuck, man, chomos, obviously the worst of them. You had a bunch of transgenders. When I left, I think they loaded like 8 of them into the compound. This was the end of 2017, so I'm sure you got them.
No, they were there. There was actually it was a gaggle. It was a gaggle of because they would walk around. This is hilarious. Is they would walk around like whatever 6 or 7, like they're walking around, and they're doing the whole when they walk,
Holy shit.
Fuck, man. I was interviewing somebody and they said something to him and he was like, hey, like they said something. Somebody said something. And he was like, hey, what's that like? Hey, what's up? Because they were in the unit together. And all of them turned. They're like, hey. And I looked at him. He's like, don't do that. It's not like that. He's like, this guy's in my unit.
Man, that's crazy. That was, again, I have mental pictures. Like I have mental notes of that place that would solidify me never. I think about this sometimes, right? Like there's obviously been times where I've been tempted to, beat some stupid motherfucker up. I was like one of these Orlando parks about a year ago, and some fucking idiot, fat drunk, told my son some shit, and I was about to paint the pool with this guy's blood. And those pictures started to come up. I remember one of those pictures. I was walking on the yard at the end on the border of Coleman, and you know how they had like the barbed wire and they had the barbed wire rows
and the next fence.
And I remember looking up, and it was both of them walking like in the far distance and just walking, trying to shake their asses and that. And I remember taking the picture that meant to know. I'm like, barbed wire, fucking 2 transgenders. I'm never coming back to this fucking shithole, man. Like that was crazy. It's to have these guys and they're fucking everything. Like those things were fucking everything.
Did you know? Do you remember? I don't know if when you were there, they had to. Remember, they would have karaoke night where the guys would get up. Everyone, when I first got there, this is happening every week, and then something happened, and then they didn't do it for months on end, and then they started doing like every quarter they would have like a talent contest, and the one would stand
Holy
up and
shit.
sing Michael Jackson. And
that was wild, man.
And guys would go, bro, let's go out. And I'd be like, I'm not going out there. But you could hear them because you know where the rec yard was. They had the fucking.
Oh, it was outside.
Oh, it's outside underneath remember the big awning?
Right.
They'd be where the awning was. And they had a karaoke and they had they're singing it and it's loud. You could hear them.
I'm sure that's when I had just left because there was a few of them. At first, it was just 2 of them. And they were kind of still low key.
Way more.
When I left, there was 2 of them, and they unloaded like 7 of them on there.
Yeah.
I remember seeing them all the week before I left. I'm like, fuck, I got out of here right on time.
So there was a group of them, and then they lasted a few months, and then a bunch of them got picked up and moved somewhere else. And so it was back down to just a couple. And then boom, a few months later, a couple more. I came in one day to the unit. This was right after RDAP. After the second RDAP, when I did RDAP and then I dropped out. And then, so I had like 3 months where went back to the same unit. And I had only been there maybe a week or so. I come walking in to turn the corner, and the very front cell, there was, I shit you not, a 13 or 14-year-old girl this is what she looked like, I shit you not. And I'm walking in fast, right? I'm just looking at the ground, walking and turning the corner, sitting on the locker, kicking her feet, singing with little headphones on. I've never, I mean, in a way, like you can't, like the other ones are like freak shows, right? Like this looked like a 13, 14-year-old singing. And I walk around, and as I walk around, I got like maybe 5 or 6 feet past, and I kind of stopped and thought,
did that thing have like big glasses on? I think it was.
I think so. Yeah. Tiny, right?
Right.
Like tiny.
Right. Big fucking glasses.
Mexican.
Fuck, I think I was there.
I kind of stopped, and only on the compound for maybe 3 months because so many guys came out of the woodwork. It's causing so many problems that they picked them up and shipped them and
Holy shit, this is bringing back fuck. Hey, there is this guy named Sawyer. I don't know if you remember Sawyer.
Of course I know
Sawyer.
Sawyer.
He's from Tampa. Me and him had it out. So he was the main house, or he was a second houseman.
He
in
was
RDAP.
Yeah, he stayed all the way up.
Right. Me and him got into it a few times. And he was one who used to fucking walk around with this thing, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He would like walk up and he had this mean limp. I remember, seeing him one time in the and it was a smaller TV room because you had the big one, and then sometimes they let us watch something in the smaller TV room. I remember calling him out, like, bro, let's just go. Let's go right now. Me and you, let's go. It's like, nah, bro, and I would see this guy going to visitation. And he had a fucking beautiful, well, I wouldn't say beautiful, but she was like a decent looking woman. Like she wasn't what I would expect him to be with.
Right.
And the guy's like kissing upon the girl. Like she looked like a good girl, man. I'm like, this motherfucker does not even. This fucking guy is coming back from probably either sucking the thing up or getting sucked up by or taking it in the whatever it is. And he's playing house in the visitation room, like you. And I would look at him and I would catch myself staring at him, and he will catch me. He'd be like that, and he'll give me those little mischievous look. I'm like, you sick, man. Like, God, like, how do you have the face for some shit like that, man? Like, you coming here, and you know.
Well, I listen. Sawyer was there the whole time. I was in RDAP. I don't know. I don't know about any of that, but like I didn't see that. But
he was gone. The thing was gone when I left.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. You're talking about the one that the main one, like the leader
big one.
Yeah. So Sawyer. This is my Sawyer story. Sawyer was weeks from the door. And he did like 15 or 20 years. Like, he was locked up for forever.
Right.
And I remember something happened. I don't remember exactly what happened. We were all standing there and somebody said something about Sawyer, like, oh, you better, you don't want to say that around Sawyer. And Sawyer's right here. And Sawyer kind of glanced over and I looked at him and I said, nah, I said, Sawyer's he's been declawed. I said, he's on his best fucking behavior. I said, right, Sawyer? Because I knew he's only weeks away. I said, you're pretty much fucking harmless at this point. And he goes, I forget how he said it, but he went, I'll be honest with you, Cox. He said, I'm so fucking close to the door right now, you could slap me dead in my fucking face and I wouldn't do shit. He said, so yeah, I'm absolutely harmless. I mean, and we were all laughing because, you get so close, you're nervous. And he'd been locked up so long. Keep in mind, he had a lot to lose. He causes any problems. He's losing a year. God knows they probably got him 9 months halfway house or a year halfway house. Like he was, but yeah, he was a comp and he was Mrs.
Conniving motherfucker.
He was Miss Dr. Smith's pet.
Me and him had it out.
He was the head orderly.
Right, he was the second.
Was he? He might have been head by the time I got there. He might have been head
because the main guy, he was cool. He had left right when I was there, but that me and him had it out. Everyone knew, like there was tension. I was a lot bigger. I was 260 pounds at the time. I'm fucking stuffing my face, going to the yard, lifting people up and shit. And me and him had it out. We had it out. But that he was fucked. That guy was turned. He was declawed completely because he had this mean program. Limb. You'll see him walking from like the other side of the hallway, and he's just like, you soft motherfucker. Like I would look at him like, what the fuck this guy thinking? And me, the gangster in me, was like, bro, I'm gonna fucking emasculate this motherfucker. Open hands, I would catch these moments. You remember a guy named Google? Google, he was this tall, dorky guy, super intelligent, man.
I don't remember.
I think I would see you with him. Real goofy guy, right? But like super intelligent. He was so smart that people would pay him for information. He was like the cell phone of the yard. You have to know who he was, man. So this guy, we did a release party for him. And the guy came back and he was on the compound within 2 months. You know how hard it is to get released and then get back on the same compound in 2 months? You have to go back to the holding.
Why? What?
That guy was just so smart. And it was just on ice. He didn't apply none of his intelligence to the fucking street. The guy went back out there, got back strung on drugs and fucking paying for prostitution, and the fucking guy ended up back inside.
Do you remember a guy named I'm thinking Turk?
Dirk? Turk?
No, his nickname was Turk, but if he was an RDAP, he would have been Shannon Siegel.
Fuck, sounds familiar.
White guy, short crop hair. Anyway, him, and then there was the other guy I used to hang out with. Except these guys all went to RDAP the year before me, like a year or so before me. One of them was Harold Locke.
Damn, that sounds familiar too.
Yeah, he's in Los Angeles right now. He's one of those guys. It's funny. I had a interview the other day, and the guy we were talking about retraining yourself while you're incarcerated, kind of figuring out a plan and re-educating yourself while you're incarcerated. Mm-hmm. And I meant to bring up Harold. Harold's brother had gotten out before him, like a couple of years before him, because Harold was on the run for a few years. And he ended up being a welding inspector. Now, you don't have to know how to weld to be a welding inspector in California. Seems odd to me, but these guys make like $80 an hour. And so his brother would send him in the material, the study material. So he had a book like this. He spent all the time reading this book for like 6 months to a year beforehand. He's just reading the book. Oh, he's read it over and over and over again so he could pass the test because his brother's telling him, you pass the test. You know, you come home, we sign you up, you pass the fucking test. I'm telling you, within a couple months, I've got you a job making $80 an hour.
There's a lot of opportunity in the feds, man.
And he did that.
He went to like HVAC, he did the whole.
But to this day, he works to this day, that's what he does.
Mm-hmm.
He works about 50, 60 hours a week, and they pay him for everything. As soon as you get the phone call to drive the hour and a half to go to you get paid for the hour and a half. Like the whole thing, he's like, oh, you get overtime, but it's not really overtime because he's like, a portion of the overtime is me just driving.
Right.
Drive from this site to this site. Sometimes you get there and they're not done. He goes in and says, you have to fix this, fix this. You go sit in your car for fucking 2 hours. You're getting paid. Like he educate, just like you're saying, you started studying, going into the library, reading books, doing everything. He educated himself while he was incarcerated. And, but yeah, he was an RDAP for sure. He was another one where it was, he sailed through RDAP, and it's that last few months that are the hardest because I always say RDAP, it's the first 2 phases. They're just trying to get you to say thank you and thank you and please, and get you to eat your food with a fucking fork and a knife. They're trying to they're trying to keep you from being just turn the savages into normal human beings. If you came in and you were a normal, pretty much you were okay to begin with. It's that last 3 months that they come for those guys, the educated guys that are in control of their emotions and everything, because that's like the last phase where they go for the manipulators. Mm-hmm. That's where they. Luckily, I never had to go through that. And I knew, even though everybody's like, man, you're sailing through this program, I used to think, no.
Oh, I remember that.
They'll come for me.
We used to think that. We used to think that certain people were sailing through the fucking program.
Yeah, and then
that shit was a rough for me from the start. From the very beginning, it was a lot of adapting. That's why I really relearned.
Yeah, but you're the guy that doesn't say thank you and please.
No, I am. I do have the common courtesy of, my mannerisms are good. That's one thing my dad taught me, right? But I just had no filter, man. I had no filter. There was like a complete different set of rules and laws that were not only in prison, but in art that I had to abide by now, right. The whole pulling up and the whole this and it was just some weird shit, a lot of weird shit going on in that fucking dorm. And I would not catch myself with nobody. The guys I was with were the people I'm working out with. Most of the people that I was with were outside of the compound.
Right.
Outside of my housing unit.
But they'll give you a hard time for that too. You're not taking it, but you're not like just doing that. Oh, I'm hanging out with my buddies. Oh, no. That has to stop at some point too. They'll give you a hard time for that.
I didn't hang out with nobody. Oh, man. Okay. I didn't trust nobody. I didn't like anybody. I didn't like myself. I'm in a whole revamping of everything, my habits, my character. And that's really what I spent the most time doing. I spent a lot of time with myself. And it wasn't just a craft that I was building. It was myself. Again, going from who I was to where I'm at today, right? I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't fuck around. My thing is business, relationship, and kids. That's it.
But why? Like what happened? Was it just getting arrested and getting the time? Was it at that moment, or did something happen while you were locked up along the way that you started thinking, my kids, I can't keep fucking doing this?
My kids, I got taken away from my kids. One of my youngest was a year old. Luckily, I was able to make it to his first fucking birthday, but it was just my kids. I'm like, if I keep on doing this shit, I'm gonna raise 2 savages.
Is somebody bringing your kids while you were locked up?
Yeah, I was able to see them, and it hurt coming out. But it was really my kids, man. Like, I need to fucking change, man. Like, this is not it.
But what were you thinking you were gonna do?
I mean, like as far as career-wise?
Yeah, I mean, you're a drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? Like, what have you prepared for?
So I got really heavy into the fitness thing. I was on the TP car, and I was with the guys on the yard. And my next prison was Estill. I ended up becoming, my institutional occupation was being a coach. And I thought that this was going to be my pastime. I came home trying to get my real estate license. I'm like, I'm just going to be a realtor, And I would find myself going into gyms and handing out resumes. And I started working at a gym. And I wanted to leave the gym. And I tried network marketing. I've been in movies. I've done, reality TV. I've done speaking on stages. I got pulled right back into the health and fitness and nutrition space. And that's what I'm doing now.
Well, when you say you get pulled back in, you mean
just what I do
you had But I'm saying you have clients that pay you to
Oh,
train
yeah.
them. Like, what exactly is the? What does
So
that
my
mean?
business now is that's exactly what I do. I have an app. I have a bunch of coaches under me. I have a sales team. I have a marketing team, and we create content and we bring in leads to get people to coach. So I have hundreds of clients that are following diet plans and exercise routines. We do live workouts. We do calls throughout the week to help build habits and all this shit. Something I like to do. I get paid very fucking well for it. So I took what I learned inside of prison within my own, I guess, reconstruction of my mindset and all this shit. And now I duplicate it and I make a career.
Did you hit the ground running, or did you have to get a regular job when you got out?
Yeah, I worked at a body shop. I worked at a gym. I stopped doing the gym thing. I'm like, I don't want to fucking do the gym thing. That's just something I like to do. And again, I've done network marketing. I've been in movies. I've tried the acting thing. And I got pulled right back into this.
Yeah, you were in a movie, right? Did you play like a fucking killer or
Yeah.
something, or what was it a movie or a series?
It was a movie. It was a 3-part trilogy movie. And I've done reality TV.
What was the movie?
It's called Secret Society.
Secret Society. Okay.
And I was in there with like Vivica A. Fox, a few other well-known actors. It's cool, but it's not what I like to do.
Right.
So and then I got pulled right back into this, and people were asking me, hey, look, like, can you show us what you do, and how do you do it, and how did you become sober? How did you change all these ways? And I'm like, oh yeah, I think I can. I can pay you to help me with this, and that's really how I started. I got pulled right back into it. And 2021, I went really deep into it, and I took off.
Do you know Myron Gaines? You know who that is?
Sounds familiar.
You ever heard Fresh and Fit podcast?
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So is he fit? Which one is he? He's fit. I don't know. He
The one that's just always talking shit. He's always,
yeah. The other guy doesn't talk that much.
Okay, yeah.
But that's like his best friend. But it's he was like I didn't know this until I went up there.
He was a coach with one of the guys I know.
No. I'm saying he was
law enforcement or some
Homeland
shit.
Security agent for like 5, 6, 7, 8 years or 10 years or something.
He was in one of my masterminds.
Oh, okay.
A couple years ago.
It's the same thing. He was talking about how he on the side started coaching. He's like, not thinking anything of it. He's like, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then he started a YouTube channel. He's like, not thinking it's going to be a career. He's like, his career, he's like, this was what I wanted to do. And then one day they called him in and said, oh, listen, he's saying crazy shit they're not okay with.
Right.
It's just the Homeland Security. They're trying to be very, whatever, neutral or liberal or whatever their goal is. I don't know. But whatever he was saying, the specifics of what he was saying, they weren't happy with. And they said, look, you got to shut that down. And he was like, yeah, I can't do that. So, but luckily he already had that business, which was growing. Right. He's like, it was growing, but I wasn't trying to grow. It was something I was doing on the side. He's like, and it just sometimes
he understands the marketing game.
I had a guy the other day, a UFC guy, and I didn't say this to him because he was talking, and I started feeling emotional, so I didn't say this. But it's like, I think when you start doing the right thing and behaving the right way, it's like God starts knocking all the things that are in your path, all the obstacles are very easily overcome or removed. Does that make sense? And maybe if you're going the wrong way, I feel like he's
the law of attraction.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like he puts obstacles in your way because you're going the wrong way. You can still do it.
You put yourself in those obstacles,
right?
Because that's what that is what your realm consists of. If you're trying to do right, but you're still one foot into this shit, you're taking the obstacles into this path, and you're gonna put, you're gonna see these along the way. And I've noticed that, everything that I used to do revolved around being the most negative, pessimistic, violent motherfucker. So all the obstacles of that were in my path. Mm-hmm. And I realized when I tried to do right, but I still wanted a polygamous relationship. I wanted 2 women. It didn't work. I wanted to do this, but it didn't work. I'm like, I just need to fucking completely transform.
Right. And it's an easier process to do that. I think
it's much simpler. It's not easy because coming from where I come from, knowing how much work it took from someone who was literally programmed into this from adolescent, everything illegal, everything, but it just feels peaceful, man. I would rather deal with the stress of building a business, and like I have a fucking like a very high quality woman. She's not arguing with me about stupid shit or checking my phone. She's a mom. She's a business owner. You just put yourself in these positions to not bring these fucking unnecessary stresses to you. Only stresses I want is building my departments within my business, dealing with my clients who are obviously paying me really good money, my kids and their evolution of their character to the face of it. Like that's all I want. So when you remove all of these destructive habits, whether it's the drinking, whether it's the gambling, whether it's this is the distraction that you're no longer bringing into your life that helps you navigate through all this shit better. But I've realized that, man, like if I try to do the half-ass, 1 foot in, 1 foot out thing, you're going to keep fucking running into these obstacles, man. And you would, by natural selection, remove people. You will stop liking certain things. You will stop going to certain places that just don't fucking serve you. You know, and I've been blessed. I don't have to deal with, none of the shit that I used to deal with anymore. So that's why I teach people, again, coming from, there's nobody out there that has a story like mine who used to be, again, a gang leader, who went inside, went to prison, came out, and is doing what I'm doing. There's a lot of guys who have, been in the crime life or been to prison, came out, but they're out here fucking doing stupid shit. They might have one area down packed, they might be in shape or whatever, but they're fucking, out there fucking strippers or something, snorting cocaine off of wherever. And that's really what, it's made me change, and I give a lot of credit to Coleman for that.
Yeah. No, I've said this. Jess is the same thing. Like she feels like prison changed her life. Like I definitely needed to go to prison. I don't know about 13 years, but I definitely needed to go to prison. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Fuck, you did 13 years, huh?
Yeah. Well, I keep correcting it. Yeah, almost 13 years. Yeah.
That's 13.
Yeah. I'm rounding up by a couple months.
Fucking more than 10.
But yeah, it definitely was here's what it made me realize. I can live with virtually nothing and be happy. Where prior to prison, that was not, I was like, no, I need more stuff, more money. That's going to make me happy. But then that never does make you happy.
Because you want more.
Right. Because it's never enough. Mm-hmm. Then you get arrested, you go to prison. You
get stripped of everything.
Stripped of everything. And you realize, there comes a time when you're enjoying walking the track. Or getting a news, they just downloaded the new Kid Rock song.
Holy shit. You remember that, huh?
Yeah. Oh, I always said when you could buy an MP3 player, they just knocked 30% off my sentence.
Yeah.
Like that was like an escape.
Yeah, man. Holy shit.
All those simple things, sitting
getting
around
on the computer and getting those emails. Oh shit.
Or getting your name called at mail.
Mail. Fuck.
Like who would think that would be like,
Chicken Day. Thursdays. Right. The simplest things, man. Yeah. I used to be a hoarder. I became a hoarder in prison. I will keep like paper clips in the back of my locker. I'm gonna use that one day, and I will take it from camp to camp. Like you would just be so fascinated with the smallest of things. In Coleman, you don't see animals. No. People would say that there was like an owl that would roam the yard. I never saw that shit. So I remember when I was in transit to Estill, I saw a fucking lizard, and the lizards evolved. There was a point where you had the little small lizards, and now the fucking lizards are huge. I don't know if you have them up here.
No, in Miami.
Okay, so in Miami, the normal lizards are fucking huge now. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And it's like, you're so fascinated by the simple things, Yeah. It's sometimes, man, like, I think whoever my higher power is, I'm not religious, right? I think they gave up on me. I think they're like, this stupid motherfucker is just not going to learn. And he threw him into a cage. And then he would check up on me every once in a while, and he was like, "Oh shit, this guy's changing in there," And he's like, "Oh shit, he's fucking being positive, and he's influencing people in a good way." And oh shit, this guy made it. I just wouldn't learn. Prison, it had happened when it happened. You know what's crazy? I had an epiphany the day that I actually got brought into prison, which I didn't think I was gonna go in that day, right? The holding cell, Miami. I remember sitting on my cell, looking through the scratchy window out. I was out looking out the West Wing, so I was able to see the city. I would know where my area was at. And I remember saying to myself, I need to be here. Like, this is exactly where I need to be right now. I didn't know what that meant at the time. I'm like, I just need to, I don't know, maybe become a fucking chain gang legend or something. I don't know, come in here and fucking do some stupid here, right? But at that time, I need to be right here. Like, I don't need to be out there. I need to be right in here. Mm-hmm. And it changed the game for me, man. It changed the fucking game for me, And yeah, It's a run. It was a run, you know. So I was looking at some of your shit on the way over here because I'm like, well, let me see how these interviews are gonna go. You're a bold motherfucker, man. You talked
Why?
about you have a video that just went viral. You're like, yeah, I'm a snitch. I'm a rat. I ratted and what? Like, holy shit. You know, I'm gonna get a lot of shit for this, right? Because people are gonna be like, oh, how are you gonna? I'm like, I don't care about that.
Right.
I personally don't care about that. Like, you only care about shit like that when you're still in that game.
Yeah.
Like, what does that have to do with you out here living a fucking good, positive life? You know, like, there was a time where I had obviously an honor system where I wasn't able to, you know, condone to that. And I didn't do it. You know, I hung my flag up and my jersey was clean. But people tell me this guy, I did a reality TV show with a guy that you know, supposedly snitches. I'm like, bro, but what do you guys care, man? What do you care? Like, why does your mind? Because I was reading some of the comments. Oh, you're fucking fuck you, this and that. And you're laughing at someone. you're dropping the little laughing emoji, and I'm like, oh, I'm already halfway here. You know, fuck this. You know, and I just started thinking optimistic about it. I'm like, this guy's got balls. You know, so the comment when I was texting you yesterday, I'm like, oh, how controversial we're gonna get. I'm like, okay, reading this might, you know, go. But yeah, that was a bold fucking real. But it performs.
Yeah.
It was like what 5 days ago, and.
You know how many people I've interviewed where they're like, you know, they come on, they tell their story, and then they're sitting there saying like they sold, let's say, you know, you know, it was a 12-kilo conspiracy in the feds, and the guy's already told me about it going to state prison twice, and I'm sitting there, and then he boom, and he got, you know, 6 years or 7 years, and I'm thinking, well, the man did at best, you would have gotten 10 years. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And they said, and I don't say anything. It's none of my business, bro. Like, if you don't want to say that, that's fine. You know, like I don't do that. But then later, like then it's over and we're talking for 10 minutes or something. They're like, yeah, bro, you know, I noticed when you looked at me when I'm still not saying.
Is he big on social media?
Huh?
Is he like
No, these are just like a guy that some guys would just call, you know, most people, I'd say 90% of the guys that come here, they're not really pushing an agenda. They're not coming because they're just coming because they're like, they watch my stuff. They have a story. The guy
this guy just has his persona for nothing.
Yeah, just a forklift driver. And he thought, I would love to come on your store and tells a story. And this is, listen, we've done hundreds at this point of interviews. But the guys will tell me, guys will tell me afterwards, they cooperated. I just don't want to say anything. I don't. And I remember when I cooperated thinking, I'm gonna get shit for this. Especially when I left.
I mean, you did 13 years,
right?
Still
out of 26. So when I left prison, I remember thinking, because I did an interview with Danny Jones. He has a big podcast, and I did it up to me getting sentenced and going to prison. And he doesn't really know. You know, he's just a podcaster. He doesn't do true crime really. He would talk to some guys, but it wasn't. These are guys that went to the state or whatever, right. And so he didn't really understand. And I'm like, yeah, and I did 13 years, and I got out. And he's like, holy shit, 13 years. I skipped over, or I might have said I got 26 years. I ended up doing 13. I get out. He doesn't know to question that. Mm-hmm. Doesn't realize you should have done 23. I did the first one, and it got like 1 million something. I don't know what it's got now, a couple million or something. I don't know. It's got a bunch. So. He's like, you got to come back. And I said, okay. He's like, we got to talk about what happened in prison. I was like, okay. And I said to him, I went, you know, we're texting. And I said, you need to call me. So he called me, and I said, okay, you have to understand, if we're going to talk about prison, I can do it. Can you talk for 2 hours about it? I said, well, absolutely. I said, but part of my prison story is I got 26. I ended up doing 13. Here's how it happened. And I explained the whole thing very briefly. And I said, I don't have a problem saying that. But if I talk about it, I'm not going to not. If you have me come on, I'm not going to not talk about it. I said, I'm not going to not say that I cooperated and I snitched and fuck that and you got a problem with it. That's your fucking problem. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to say it. So I said, I'm going to say all that. I said, so if you don't want to have me come on, I totally understand. And he was like, fuck no.
It's mainstream now. Like, that's not even a thing anymore. Right. This guy 6'9" came out and made a whole, you know, career around it. You have guys, look, the beauty about social media is that you can come on here, we can reconnect. Like, I would have never fucking known who Matt was if it wasn't through social media. I mean, I met my woman through social media. I have a whole career around social media, right? But then you have the darker side where you have a lot of people who put up this persona, you know, on social media, and they
I don't want to do that.
They pretend to be this person, and who the fuck are you in real life, right? Like that's the dark side of it. You ever heard the saying, your hero's the biggest weirdo? Like you understand that life outside of social media still exists. Like what happens when you fucking start dating somebody and they find out you have like, I don't know, you're this bitch or something, or this little dick person. I don't know, like whatever it is. But that man, at this point, like I almost think that will help you more than it will hurt you, because
you know why I think it helps me is that so many people in the comment section saying, look, this dude, you know, like, and of course they have to say like, well, I don't agree with what he did, but at least he's honest. He's the most honest.
That's how I feel. I don't agree with what you did, but you got balls and you're bold enough to say it and say, I'm gonna say it, you know? But a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people
they just lie and they backpedal, or they'll say they fucking did. Oh, I did 15 years in prison and you did 12. Like, why not just say you did 12? Right. 12's a long fucking time. Or right. I did 10 years. You did 7. Mm-hmm. Or I was in the you know, whatever, California fucking, you know, level, whatever. And you weren't. You did your time in Arizona because they were, the inmates were shipped. They were housing inmates and you didn't do 10 years. You did 7. Like, why not just say that? 7 years is a long time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not... I don't know why people have to do that.
I'll tell you exactly what it is, because like me, when I tell my story, it's, again, as you can see, it's very brief. This is probably as in depth as I've ever gone into my story.
And listen, I would have gone way deeper. But you breezed through.
I've been through some shit, you know, like I was really doing the shit, you know, and a lot of people still struggle with that false identity. You know, it's like this imposter syndrome of someone that they never were, so they have social media now to do it. You know, so there's a lot of guys in my space who do it, and they're fucking big. You know, there's this guy named Joey Sewell. I'm not sure if you've seen him. I love the guy. The guy's doing good for the gym community, but he talks about bullies in gyms because he used to be bullied. You know, and he's created this cult of people who are just like, they'll attack the person, bro. Like, they'll attack the oh, fuck you, go to hell. Don't talk to people like this in the gym. Have you heard of Goob?
I mean, it sounds familiar.
Goob.
But...
So it's this guy who exposes people who do Photoshop, but the guy's like way out of shape. And he started his career by exposing child molesters. So that's what kind of like attracted me to him. And to be honest, the guy kind of looks like a child molester. I'm not sure if he maybe, I don't know, had these tendencies, or maybe he was molested. That's what social media is useful. I saw you put a fucking video of Watson the other day. That's what they do. Like and let me tell you something, speaking from someone who knows him personally, right? Or at least a 2021 version of him. Like, the guy's a cool guy.
Everybody says that, bro. Everybody that really...
No, but speaking of 2021...
Everybody that really knows him says that.
I can't speak for him now. Like, I don't keep up with his shit. I don't align with none of the shit he says, but he's not who he is on social media. So he portrays this version of a person that he's not, because you can, right? What I portray is what I'm working on the most, which is my family, obviously the time lost, my relationship, which is I value so much, and just doing everything healthy. You know, but that's the beauty of social media. You can go either way.
I don't know if you even watched the Wes Watson one, is that, you know, his message, like, he's got a good message, but his delivery, and it's funny because RDAP, they talk about how it doesn't matter what the delivery is. Well, you're wrong. His delivery is so overwhelmingly bad that you lose the message, and his behavior is so bad. And it's like, you've got a great, it's like Jordan Peterson. He's got the same message as Jordan Peterson, but Jordan Peterson says it calmly. And
himself, right.
Yeah, like, you've got the same message.
Yeah, he's a smart dude.
And then Wes Watson, what does he do? The guy comes in the gym the other day, and then, you know, like, you had an opportunity to do a stand your ground. The guy came in. You could have gone outside. You told people to come in the gym. If you got a problem with me, come down here. We'll go toe to toe outside. He comes in. That's not what you do. You or your buddies attack him. The guy's crawling away. You kick him in the fucking head twice.
Shit. I didn't see that.
Oh, you got to see the one where he kicks him in the head?
I haven't kept up with his shit. I used to keep up with his shit like back in 2021, you know, and the guy was putting out some pretty decent shit now. The guy's just hollow today. You know?
And by the way, that's exactly, I've said that in one of these things where I talked to a guy, and when he did Big Herc, he was much calmer. He had a better message.
It's not about calmer. I just feel he's being exposed for who he really is, you know, and I don't know if I think he's gotten to a place where his character didn't match his success, because his character was pretty good and he was pretty successful.
Right.
But the guy's lost, man.
Oh no! Now it's
the guy's
if
lost.
you're not driving a Bugatti, you're a fucking loser. If you're not, I pay fucking $30,000 a month for my fucking this. If you're not making $1 million a year, you're a fucking
He's
scumbag.
a sharp dude, man, and
like,
I don't wish nothing bad upon him. But he looks like he's on his way down. You know.
Yeah. Oh no. He would listen. He got arrested. He bonded out. He's probably going to go to fucking. They're offering him 4 years. If you
shit.
saw the video,
No, I
it's
haven't seen
brutal.
it.
Now he's got an argument, but the argument was lost when your 4 buddies jumped in with dumbbells and beat this guy, and you kicked him in the head. That was over. It was that's where it went.
He's in Miami now.
I know.
You know.
I interviewed a guy that he talks to all the time.
10 years ago, the shit that he's doing now would have not worked here.
Well, here's the thing.
It would have not worked.
Like for him, his path to redemption right now is exactly what you and I just said. Like, take a step back, look at yourself, say, hey, I was behaving like a scumbag and I was doing scumbag things and I needed to change and I need to be a better person. And that person I was is not who I want to be.
The thing is with him, because he's changed. Like the guy's, he just obviously struggles with the whole, you know, I think
his ego's just got out of control.
I just, because me from the street, I know he's not who he portrays himself to be. But again, he means well. He just has the message mixed with the, okay, I need to pretend I'm this person because I'm still struggling with this. But he has nothing to lose. I mean, the guy has no kids. You know, he has nobody. He's like, every relationship, or like when I was keeping up with him, I'm not sure if you know Bedros Keuilian is. So he was his mentor. He was also my mentor, you know, and he burned bridges with the guy, you know, and he's hanging out with, every time I've seen him, he hangs out with a different group of people now. So I'm like, that says a lot about your character. Like if you're really, because me, I preach that you're rich in life by the quality of your relationships. And if you can't keep a fucking relationship with either a woman or a friend, it says a lot about your character.
Right.
The guy has nothing to lose. So I think if he had something to lose, I don't think he would be, you know, like who he is. No, he's not gonna listen to nobody. You know, the guy is gonna fucking get himself into some shit, which obviously you're telling me now.
Yeah.
Like, I wish him well, man. I don't wish he fucking gets locked up or whatever, but the guy's lost. Bro, the guy's lost. I haven't seen his shit for a while, and every time he pop up, guys, we even stopped following each other. You know, we used to support each other's shit. I was like, who the fuck is this guy, bro?
Well, you know what's funny is I interviewed a guy named Tony the other day who, while we were sitting here, Wes texted him twice. And he's like, you don't understand, the guy, he every couple of days, if I don't reach out to him every 2 or 3 days, he texts me. And he's like, and I don't pay him. Like, I'm not one of his clients. He was a client for like 6 months or something. And then Tony started doing what Wes is doing, and he's got a following, and he started his own gym. And he's like, and literally it's been years. He's like, and he still at least once or twice a week texts me, how are you doing? How's everything going? Whatever happened with that. And he's like, he goes, I'm telling you, Matt, he goes, one-on-one. He goes, you would not fucking believe how this guy behaves one-on-one. Then why not? But I'm seeing the videos and he's horrific. He's horrible.
But I think it goes further than that. Because again, like I know a lot of people who are good above surface, but the relationships, the results don't lie. Like you're not defined by how much money you can make. You're defined by how good your quality, quality of your relationships are, and that tells a lot. That tells me a lot.
That is exactly what I said.
Like Bedros Keuilian is a fucking decent guy. He's a fucking powerhouse. If you burn bridges with this guy, you fucked up. You know, I see the actions. I see the patterns. I don't see like the actual message. You know, I was cool with the guy when I met him. I had to do my research, you know, like, oh, this guy's a fucking, you know, he was a junkie before prison and he beat up some guy and that's what he went to jail for. He wasn't no leader of nothing or nothing, but the guy just became very intelligent. He learned this marketing shit. He did the work. He built his habits and he made, you know, a living out of it. But the guy's just lost, man. Yeah, and it's a lot of these guys that I see, man, on social media, again, speaking about the ones I just mentioned. You know, it's social media will do that to you, man.
I think he was better when he left prison. He was more humble. He lost being humble, and that just, I think it just gutted the person that he probably was on the road to. And it bothers me that he's so connected with money, because the truth is, I know people that are happier, that are teaching their little leagues, their kids' little league, working in Walmart, and I know multimillionaires that are fucking miserable.
Yeah.
So the idea that you think that money makes you a better person or happy, that's just the wrong message.
And no, and the thing is that he doesn't. Well, at least when 2021, he was doing the whole stepfather thing and the relationship thing. So his morals aligned.
Okay.
But again, none of it lasted.
Yeah.
You know, if you had a kid, I'm 100% sure he'll be completely different. You know, because I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm some relationship expert.
Yeah.
You know, because I just got into a new relationship. Every relationship I get into is like a more qualitative, more growth, you know, focused relationship. But it's people that like that they just don't have like a foundation of something to attach them to reality, that they get lost in fucking social media. Bro, social media is it can really fuck people up, man, mentally. The first mother of my son has a huge following, you know, and she's had it since before. You know, she's been on TV shows and all sorts of shit. And I kind of saw the shift in what that did to her. And this was before social media was even a thing. Like, she's had it since the beginning of the days of social media. People nowadays at least know, okay, you know, I'm not going to take it this serious. But some people don't. You know, some people don't. So yeah, it's social media. It's a cool place to meet people, to make a lot of shit happen, but it's deceiving as a motherfucker. Yeah, it's very deceiving, you know. But yeah, hey, people gonna do what they do, you know. We reconnected through social media, and here we are. So I like what it can do for you. You just have to have control over what it can do for you in all the wrong ways.
I want to know what it's like going from a leader of an organization to not. Like, did that like stop? You said you were still doing it in prison.
Right.
So what happens when that stops? Is there any actual like repercussions or?
Great question. So before I went in, because I knew that we were like possibly facing a racketeering charge, I dismantled everything. So nobody had positions. Even though when I went in, obviously, I still had the respect. I still had my stripes. So I still led it from a place of, all right, we're all going to survive. We're going to make money. We're going to keep in communication. But we live in different times. We live in much different times. You know, nowadays, like I still keep in contact with my OGs who are, I mean, you get old for certain things, man. Like if you're 40 years old, still out there doing shit, I'm never gonna say that. I wasn't the gang leader who turned his cheek and is holding a Bible. I was a guy who said, this shit's fucking stupid. Like, you gotta be a fucking idiot to have kids at home, to have a mom who you already put through hell, and be a 30, 40-year-old man who is still out here playing kid games. You know, that's me. Grow the fuck up. Right. You know, if you're out here still thinking you're a badass, especially on social media, like a lot of these guys, I had no hate in my heart for a lot of these guys, but the truth is I'll beat the dog shit out of these people. I still preach in being violent. Just control it and use it for use it for a righteous reason. I had it behind a really thin glass. If my kids are ever threatened, I'm killing some shit. You know, with my bare fucking hands if I have to. I'm just not out there on the offense looking for violence, you know? That's my motto. Like, okay, I'm going to teach my kids how to fight. I'm going to teach my kids how to be resourceful. I'm going to teach my kids how to be dangerous, mentally, emotionally. Like, my 13-year-old has gone through the relationship thing already. Right. You know, and I've been there to guide him. Hey, let your balls hang. We're not doing that crybaby shit, you know? And he lives with me full time. So he gets like the in-person, firsthand feel of what it's like. And he's seen me go through the relationships and the breakups. And he's like, damn, you know, this is how it's done. All right, you're fucking dangerous, Dad. You're not one to cry and mope and shit. So I still preach that. I just don't do it from a place of, right, guys, you know, praise the Lord Jesus. I'm not here to, you know, talk down on anybody who does that. My mom's a heavy Christian woman. But it's, bro, you get old. You get old for certain things. Like, you get too old for a second. You gotta get tired at one point, you know? Yeah, I'm actually very supported by the ones that actually have some sort of power. You know, there's obviously a whole nother generation running around, and I roam my streets all the time. You know, I just ran into the one leading the way right now, and he looked at me. He's like, bro, you're very inspiring. And he's into the music thing. So I'm like, bro, get the guys that you have around you and go do something positive with it. Because I'm going to tell you right now, as loyal as you guys are, the elements of the illegalities, the drugs, the woman, the envy, the fucking all that is going to split you guys apart. You're gonna get put in a situation where they're either gonna want to kill you, you're gonna want to kill them, you're gonna get arrested. You're like, do something positive with it. I had some really solid people around me back in my day, and I talked to none of them because in that environment there is no thriving. There's just survival.
Yeah.
And the
Well,
truth
even
is,
if it seems like you're thriving, it's just a matter of time before it catches
exactly,
up to
but it's surviving. You're not thriving. You're surviving, and you're just getting better at surviving.
you. Yeah.
You're just hunting down a bigger deer. That's it. You're not. There's going to be a deadline, and luckily for me, I took the best out of the three options: dead, life, or just enough time to fucking fix me. I had some really good people around me, man. Solid people. Some of who I made godfathers of my kids. I don't speak to none of them, and I've reached out to them. Hey, look, even though, I heard that you're about to go talk to the Fed. My right hand man never snitched on paper, but he wanted to talk to the feds, and I had this on a recorded call. I never brought that up to him. I'm like, at the end of the day, I know what we were in. You didn't point the fucking finger and say no. So I wanted to get past that. He didn't want to get past that. I'm like, whatever, that's what you want to do. Guess what? Like, at the end of the day, don't fucking forget who I am. I don't have to walk around looking over my shoulder. I did everything. I did right by people. That charge wasn't even mine. I took it in the chin. And I'm like, we're going to ride this shit out. Fuck it. Let's just do the next couple of years in here together. But there's times, man, I would get in the car and I would already think about, how am I going to kill this guy? How am I going to stick a knife in this guy's fucking neck? Like, that's the mentality you had to have. You see those mafia movies when they walk in the room and they just off somebody, right? Like, that's the mentality I had to have. Plastic on the ground. Right. Every time I would get in the car, these are the most loyal motherfuckers that I have. These are my loyalist soldiers, right? They know my kids. They know my woman. Like, we were, that was still wandering in the back of my mind. I'm ready. I'm on go at all times. I'm either waiting for the ops to catch up to us. I'm waiting for the fucking police to kick down my door. I'm waiting to, possibly get out of this situation where maybe 3 guys I step in the car with, who are my guys, might want to kill me. Mm-hmm. There is no positive outcome in that life if there's something like what happened to us doesn't happen. So anyone watching this, whatever structure or hierarchy you're in, whether it's a cartel, the mafia, organized crime, or just some street gangs, you're not going to fucking make it out. It's just no way you're going to fucking make it out.
Well, nobody's killing you in the mortgage industry.
Right. No, I mean, nobody's killing in this industry,
right.
But like,
it's not like I'm watching Goodfellas when they walk, what's his name in, and there's plastic and they shoot him in the head. It's like,
is that what you do, mortgage?
Mine's mortgage fraud.
Okay.
So it's not like I'm like, yep, that's exactly what happened.
Right.
I'm not worried about it.
In my life, that was a reality.
Oh, listen, this guy I talked to yesterday, I interviewed, mob guy, and it's just, do you interview people ever? Oh, listen, I mean, he's talking about shooting this guy in the head and shooting this guy in the head. And I'm sitting there thinking, geez. I mean, and just matter of factly, I was told to do this and this. So I go upstairs and we walked in there and I already had the silencer. And so as soon as I pulled the gun out, he saw it, he said, shit, he turned and I popped him in the back of the head. He hit the ground, put another one in him.
You said all this on camera?
Yeah, he's already gone to the Fed. He went to the Fed, he cooperated with the Feds, did like, I forget how many years, got out. Oh, listen, he talked about 4 different murders. And I'm sitting there like, and honestly, typically I have interviewed guys that have murdered people or there were murders associated with it, but it was always kind of a, and it's funny because yesterday, both the guys, well, one guy was attempted murder. He shot the guy in the face. He lost like half his face, his teeth, but it was attempted murder.
Got charged by it.
He got charged. He went to jail for
it. Right.
He actually, I think, got life. He got out in 24 years. But the other guy did all these things and he cooperated. And basically, people were starting to cooperate against him. He's like, "Oh no! You're not gonna cooperate against me." And
I saw that a lot in Coleman, man. Like, there were people arguing and competing about who cooperated the most. I snitched on my fucking sister. Oh, I snitched on my mom. I'm like, fuck.
I always felt like people were.
It was those 3 categories of what really changed my whole perception of the game. Was number 1, worst chomos, then the fucking gay shit that was going on in there. You remember the Puerto Ricans? How gangster and gay they were?
Oh yeah, the Puerto Ricans were the
Those were
worst.
some
They
savages. They were fucking killers, but they would walk around the compound touching each other's ears. And remember that weird shit?
It was.
There was a fucking wedding on the compound one day between like one of the leaders of one of those gangs, big tough guy.
I feel like I remember that.
Weird as fuck. And then you had the snitches.
Yeah.
You know, you had the fuck, and they were open about who they snitched on.
It's like 85% of drug of the guys convicted for drugs cooperate. It's like if you do the math, it's actually like 95, almost 95% of the people that cooperate. The problem is that they don't all get the cooperation. So you might have I might cooperate, but you don't get the cooperation. So you still cooperated, but you didn't give them
cooperated first, or who said
right.
whatever
Well,
they said first.
You didn't give them anything new. You didn't give them enough.
Right.
You know, so it's like, oh yeah, you know, then you get someone's paperwork and you're looking over and it's like, you cooperate. Yeah, but I didn't get nothing for it. I just don't think that's how it works.
That's even worse.
You're right.
Fuck, like you lost in the snitching game.
Right.
You cooperated, they ain't get no time knocked off. You know.
But yeah, it's everybody. It's funny.
That was my perception when I first got there. Because again, the snitching shit I didn't condone. And then I kind of make amends with it, and you know, there's a few guys that I ended up learning a lot from who they cooperated, and I didn't judge them for it because I don't give a fuck about this.
What
anymore,
choice do you have?
know?
You can be a tough guy and care and start smashing people, but you're going to do all your time in the fucking pen.
I personally would have never done it because first of all, I know what the fuck I've done, and I have 2 kids to raise. I think it's more of a character thing. For me, it was more of a character thing versus a code thing because there is no code.
Yeah.
There is no fucking code.
I say that all the time. There's no code.
There's no such thing as that. And again, this is coming from somebody who was really there and wrote some of them on the black book. There is no fucking such thing as a code. Nobody abides by it. My code was, if you're around me, just don't be a fucking drug addict. Don't be a loud person. So we didn't have the cars. We didn't do none of that, you know? And obviously the whole, you know, the more common things. But nobody abided by that shit. When the pressure was on and that they felt that heat around the corner, people would get exposed. Mm-hmm. They are going to get fucking exposed. You know, I was at war with myself, man. I was just, it came to a point where I'm like, I'm just the most dangerous person. And then my shadow is the second most dangerous person in my organization. Like, it wasn't even someone that I depended on to go put in work with. I would just do it myself in certain, you know.
But you're just creating a co-defendant if you send somebody else. That guy's just going to, when he gets caught, he's going to say, I know something.
And that was also something I would think about, you know. And I have co-defendants. I have things that we have done with people. We take it to the grave. But it's not something that I'm proud of, and it's not something that I don't see there's logic behind it. You know, again, I was so far off into this comical, fucking fictional world of mine to think when I got to Coleman, because I saw what it was for, like what was it really? I'm like, holy shit, I've been playing this game, and these are the players in my game. Because it's all street, it's all prison. Like the prison, the streets, we're all in the same game. These are the fucking guys that are playing my game, the game that I was like, live by, die by. Fuck this, bro. Fuck this. Because at the end of the day, a child molester is still a criminal. I'm a criminal. We're like distant cousins. That's why I started to think, holy shit, we're fucking in the same game. We're just wearing different jerseys. I'm not playing this fucking game anymore. So now I put myself on this side. I'm like, I'm not associating myself with none of these motherfuckers. Whatever color jersey you're wearing, you know?
Well, now you can sleep at night. Nobody's going to come. The feds aren't going to come raid your house.
I don't have to worry about the feds. I don't have to worry about nothing.
You don't have to put your car in your mom's name or buy a house in your aunt's name.
Kind of.
Like,
I kind of still do. I'm having an issue with one of those, with something right now, because I have a fucking Bentley, and there's like, you know, certain things, and I live in a really good neighborhood, and they're like, oh, who's this guy? Oh, yeah, we run a background on you, so.
Oh, listen, when I filled out the application, I've been here 3 years, about 3 years. So when I filled out the lease for here, you know, ever been arrested? No. Ever been everything? No. Because I knew the federal thing, because my federal charge was so old. If you run me, it doesn't come up. So I sent
What is it, like 10 years?
I think it's whatever. I'd been locked up for 13.
Right. So it's like 10 years after
And then 3 years later is when I'd been released for like 2 years when I signed for here. So I signed. Perfect, fine, everything's great. I get the place, I move in. A year goes by, of course, I'm paid perfectly. And one day I get my landlord sends me a text. He says, because I do commercials for a company called Home Title Lock that protects people against basically theft of their property, which is one of my crimes. So I get a text that says, I just saw you on a commercial. It was the only commercial. And I was like, oh shit. And I hit him back with the emoji, and he put, ha 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 ha. It's fine. Don't worry about it. We're good. And I was like,
But you rent here or you?
I rent.
Right. Rent.
Yeah.
This is a different
I just
game.
got off probation,
Yeah.
like in July.
Shit.
So I've re-signed up my
You're
lease
fresh
like
off,
twice since then.
Right.
But keep in mind too, I was, same thing. I was concerned. Like people aren't forgiving. People, and I'm not somebody you want renting your house. I'm the guy that rents your fucking house. Not I wouldn't do it in my name, but he doesn't know how it works. He sees me and he sees this is a guy who will take the title to your house, put it in someone else's name, and borrow 6 mortgages against it.
Right.
And then take off. So he doesn't know.
I think that's more worrisome than what I am or who I am because they know me everywhere. Either they see me on social media, they see me in the movie, they see me on fucking reality TV. So anywhere I've ever rented, I've been known. I was living in a house in Doral, paying $8,000 a month, $100,000 a year. That's the only place I wasn't harassed. Because I'm like, okay, like this guy's paying me. The fuck am I gonna harass this guy for? But every other place I've lived in condos and fucking, and they've always harassed the shit out of me. They know who I am. Obviously, I stand out. They do their homework. It's not hard to just write your fucking name on social media and then they look down your resume and like, oh shit, this is this guy.
Yeah. Well,
there's things that we gotta, we still gotta live with, but we can change it, man.
How cool is it now, though, from your old life to now to be walking through, I'm going to say the mall in Miami or something with your girlfriend and your kid and have some guy see you and be like, oh my God, bro, I follow you. You're so...
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking
cool.
It
happens all the time. I have people, the ones that hit me the hardest are the people that come up to me and they're like, Eddie, I stopped drinking because of you.
Yeah.
Eddie, I lost 50 pounds because of you.
Yeah.
Eddie,
You're an inspiration. You changed my life.
Those are the ones that really hit me hard. And I'm going to keep doing it because of that.
It's good.
But it's
good.
Yeah, it's a big transition.
Nobody said that in your whole life. Nobody.
No, actually, they do.
Did they?
Yeah, I remember I just saw the guy, the younger generation, and they told me that.
No. I'm saying when you were in your old life.
I wasn't. I inspired nobody. Yeah.
No.
I did it in all the wrong ways.
Right.
But I actually have a documentary that I filmed a couple years ago that I never released, and it kind of goes down the question that you're asking, like how did I get into the life? Because I remember one of the older kids in my neighborhood came up to me, and I've had this. I reenacted it with my younger son, with my older son, where he tries to hand me a roll of money. And I remember when I was about to grab it, he pulled out a bandana. And I remember like slapping the bandana and he pushed me on the ground. And like I was raised in a good home. My mom was she just didn't have life experience. And I think that's probably the most valuable thing you can give anybody is life experience. It's not a skill set. Like if I can help you get healthy and make money and teach you what not to do to not go the wrong way, to me, that's just my personal perception, is the most valuable thing you could give to somebody. And like all those experiences I went through, I'm very open about. I mean, mind you, my son filmed this, so he obviously knew what he was filming it for. And man, I had to go through that. I had to go through everything to be able to be a sacrifice for my kids, for everyone that I'm inspiring. Like people pay me good money to work with me and figure out how the fuck did this guy get over this? How did this guy beat this habit? How did this guy, So it's a transition, man, but it's definitely very fulfilling. To have the freedom to leave on a Friday is one of my busiest days, and to tell my employees, hey, handle everything. I'm gonna take Friday off, and I'm gonna take my son right out to Busch Gardens from here, and we're gonna stay the night, just me and him. Mm-hmm. It's a big change, man. Versus leaving Miami to fucking run away from the feds. That's when I used to leave town.
All right.
On last minute. Like this was a last minute thing, but I'm like, I'm gonna just make a whole trip out of this. I'm gonna call Matt because I know we've been going back and forth for a while. I'm gonna take my son because he lives down the street to Busch Gardens. Tomorrow there's a dog show down the street. Fuck it, let's take him to a dog show, and then come back home and do the Easter at the house. But yeah, man, it's It's a lot to fucking to get used to, but it's worth it, man. It's definitely worth it.
Hey, you guys, I appreciate you watching. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notified of videos just like this, and please share the video. Also, we're going to leave all of Eddie's his social media links in the description box, so go right in the description box, click on them, follow him. Really appreciate you watching. Please consider joining Colby and I's Patreon. $10 a month helps us make these videos. Thank you very much. See ya.